Today I'm going to break down exactly how to make 1K a day dropshipping luxury dupes. Now, just last month alone, my brand pulled in over 200 grand, and next month is on track to do way more than that. And the whole goal of this channel is to help as many people as humanly possible make at least $1,000 every single day with dropshipping. So since today we're talking about luxury dupes, this is the exact 3-step roadmap from how to find a product that's proven to print, to how to outbrand whoever's already selling it so you can print even more, and how to source the highest quality possible to build an actual brand that compounds over the next few years. Now, before we dive into any of it, let's address the elephant in the room. Because when most people hear the word dupe, and honestly, this was me when I first started out, they instantly think it means a fake or a cheap replica or some dodgy knockoff of a big brand. And that is not what this is. A dupe is not a replica, and there's genuinely a massive difference between the two. You're never copying someone's brand because you can't. They own it. And if you rip a brand off one-to-one, you might make a bit of money out of it, sure. But after a week, they're gonna go to Shopify, make a claim, shut your product down, and stop you from ever launching a product ever again. So it's not sustainable, it's not legal, and it's just not what we're doing here. Because we're not copying the product, we're remodeling the playbook. And the playbook is simply this. You take a product that a premium brand has already proven people want, and you build your own brand around that same demand at a price people can actually afford. And once you understand how that works, you'll never look at an expensive product the same way ever again. So let me show you what I actually mean, starting with the maths. Because most people think that the smart move is to sell cheap. And since it feels easier to get someone to part with £10 rather than £100. But that's the trap, because a £10 product means you need 100 sales every single day to hit £1,000 a day. So now you're running a volume business that grinds you into the ground with razor thin margins. Whereas a £100 product needs 10 sales for that exact same day. 10 sales versus 100 for the same money doing a tenth of the work. And here's the part that should genuinely change how you see this, because the price you're allowed to charge has almost nothing to do with the product itself. It's the same gold chain from the same factory sold by 2 different people. And one charges £15 and the other one charges £100. Nothing changes but the perception. And one charges £15 while the other charges £100. So the product never changes, just the perception. And that gap between 15 and 100, that £85 of extra profit on the exact same, it's purely because of the brand. And the clearest proof of that anywhere is Dyson. A Dyson hairdryer is mostly plastic, built in the same kind of factories as products a tenth of the price. And yet people happily hand over 500 quid for one without even blinking. And the reason isn't the motor or the materials, it's that Dyson sells you certainty before the product ever arrives. That's branding, because they never stand there and argue that they're better than the competition. They just wrap the whole thing in premium photos, a clean, expensive website, and packaging that feels like an event. So the time that that box hits your doorstep, you've already decided it's the best on the market, and you just have to prove it to yourself. Which means the product almost can't disappoint you unless it's genuinely dog shit and falls apart the second you open it. And that's the part most people never understand, because they think a premium brand is about looking pretty, when really all a premium brand is doing is making the decision for the customer before they even get a chance to doubt it. So you were never supposed to create demand in the first place, because the demand is already out there and people already want this stuff. So your only job is to find where they're already buying it and then show up with a better brand than whoever's selling it to them right now. And most people do this completely backwards, where they try and invent demand from nothing and then burn months and their entire ad budget trying to convince total strangers to care about a product nobody asked for. So we're gonna do the opposite by walking straight into demand that already exists and outbrand it. And that comes down to 3 simple steps, starting with the first one, finding a product that's already proven. Now, the whole point of this step is to never be the person who pays to find out whether something sells. Because most beginners, they pick a product they personally like, put their own money behind it, and use their own ad budget to discover whether anyone else actually wants it. And that's the most expensive way possible to learn a lesson that somebody else has already paid for. So instead, you head over to the Facebook ads library, which is completely free. And it's where every other dropshipper running meta ads is forced to show their entire hand, because every single ad they're paying for is sitting right there in the open. So you search the terms that they all use, 50% off, sale ends today, and then you filter down to your niche. And what you're hunting for is just one seller running at least 20 active ads that have been running their ads for longer than 2 weeks. And the reason for that is ads cost money every single day to run, and nobody keeps paying to run 20 of them for weeks on end unless those ads are generating a return. So the spend itself is the proof, and that's the strongest validation there is, because it's somebody else's money already confirming that the product works before you've risked a single penny of your own. The way I think about it is most people are just fishing. They're throwing an open hook into the ocean, hoping something bites. Whereas you're fishing with sonar because you can see exactly where the fish already are before you even cast a line. So let's say we scroll through and we land on a piece of jewelry. Something simple like a gold chain with a wall of active ads behind it that has clearly been working for whoever's running them. Now that's perfect because it's desire-based, which means people see the image and instantly want it without you needing to explain a single thing. So we'll thread that the same product through the rest of this video. A quick note though, because you can also use AI to find gaps in the market instead of using the Facebook ads library. And that's actually how I found the product I'm running right now, but it's a much deeper process. So if you want a video on how to use AI to find gaps in the market, then just comment AI and I'll do it. Now, step 2 is where the actual money is made. And it's outbranding the person you just took that product from. Because remember, the product is identical. You're both sourcing the same item from the same place, so you're not competing on the same product at all. You're competing purely on who frames it better in your advertising. Now, most beginners are doing a fantastic job at completely ruining the way this product is framed, because they'll throw it up on a cheap looking store with bad photos so it looks like every other dropshipping store on the internet, which is why nobody will ever pay £100 there. So what should you do? The opposite. Basically, you put it on a premium theme with clean photos and simple colors and a page that looks expensive. And now that £15 chain looks like it belongs to a £100 brand. And again, the product didn't change. All that changed was how much it looks like it's worth. And the way that you pull that off is by picking one specific person you're building this for and making everything in that store speak to them. Because a brand for a 20-year-old who wants to look rich on a night out should look nothing like a brand for a woman in her 30s buying herself something nice. And the moment you try to speak to both, you speak to neither. For this kind of product, I go premium and minimal every time. But the choice itself matters far less than making it run through everything without a single break. Because whenever something gives you that cheap or low effort vibe, whether that be the ads, the photos, the site, or the packaging, the whole illusion collapses and they're right back to seeing a dropshipper. So every touch point needs to hold that same feeling. From the first ad they ever see from you, all the way to the box on their doorstep, which is exactly the same thing that Louis Vuitton do, that Dyson do, and there's genuinely no reason at all that you can't do this sitting in your bedroom. Now, step 3 is the product itself. Most people think once they've got the sale, they've won, and they're making snow angels in the money. But the sale was never the hard part. Everybody can get a sale. But what not everybody can do is keep that customer. And that's the difference between owning a business where customers come back because they want more of what you have and renting customers off of Facebook. If the product's bad, every sale you ever make has to be bought again with more ad spend. And eventually the math stops working. But if the product's good, one customer turns into 3 or 4 orders over the year, plus the people they send you. And that's the only thing that actually makes an e-commerce brand worth anything. And the good news is that you don't have to guess what is good, because Chinese suppliers price their pricing accordingly to the quality. So anything above $15 is a high quality product. So when you start running ads for your product, order it to your home, hold it, test it out, make sure that it's actually good and a brand that you would actually put your name on before you spend a penny more on actually scaling it up. And as soon as you get that first sale, you should be making sure that you're checking the quality. Now, we have a private agent that I refer to my students, but what you can do is look for AliExpress links, see if you can see the video on the AliExpress link. That way you can check the quality of the product. If you have a private agent, then you can ask them to send a custom video directly to you of the product that you're selling. Because there's one thing a good product saves you from that most beginners will never see coming: chargebacks. A chargeback is when a customer calls their bank, they say the whole thing was a scam or it was very low quality, and they get their whole money refunded and it comes straight out of your account. So if you're selling cheap rubbish, that's what they'll do. And that's way worse than a normal refund, because too many chargebacks can cause your payment processor to decide you're a risk and they can drop you completely. So now the store still works, the ads still run, but you physically can't take money anymore. And what you've already made is sitting frozen for 3 to 6 months. But when the product's good, the complaints and refunds are not even in the conversation. On top of that, people keep what they bought and a good chunk of them come back and buy again. Because dropshipping was never the business, it's just how the product gets delivered. The business underneath it is e-commerce. So if you treat it like one, guess what? You stop starting from zero every single month and you actually keep the customers you paid to get. And they generate a return that puts a smile on your face. Now, this on its own is enough to get you to 1K a day. You just basically find the proven product, brand it right, sort the quality, and you're already ahead of 90% of people out there. But it hits completely differently once you've got the systems running underneath it, where the product research, the ads, and the scaling all run like a machine instead of you hand doing it every single day. So watch this video next, where I show you how I run all of it, mostly on autopilot, to the point where dropshipping feels as easy as it did back in 2016.